Bethany Manctolo here. Welcome to our Millwall fan show with some new voices, but the same focus. Just everything Millwall. Enjoy!
Welcome to the 2024-25 series of Millwall No One Likes Us Talkins, our Millwall fans show. I'm your host, Myles Thornton, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of former Lion, Phil Coleman, Stan Godwin, and Jeff Burnige.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Welcome everybody, Phil. Welcome to the show. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks, Myles. Apart from broke my ribs, long story, but apart from that, I'm fine, thanks.
You was at the Isle of Dogs last week, wasn't you, for the Millwall History and Heritage Tour? How was that?
Yeah, Mike, George, and Rob, who run it, they asked me to attend, and I went down there, and it killed two birds with one stone because my great grandparents were born on the Isle of Dogs, right near to where Millwall's first ground was, 1885. And the Heritage Tour was brilliant. It was Mike and Rob, so knowledgeable. We visited the sites of the previous grounds, building right up to 1901. We visited the pubs where the committee back in those days met, and we went to the Lord Nelson to finish off, where obviously that was a final pub, and they used to get changed in the pub and go out and play. And there was 30 fans there, a few good friends that I've grown up with and known for years, Kevin Kempster and his family. I highly recommend it. It's a good tour, and as I say, I killed two birds because I got back to where my great grandparents came from, and obviously a large part of the history of the club over there. So yeah, recommend it to fans.
Fantastic. Stan, welcome. How are you, mate?
I'm fine, mate. I'm fine. And yourself?
Yeah, good, thanks. Tom Leahy went on loan to Woking in the National League for the season, and Chinnacoli went to Sutton United in the same league. What do you make of those loan deals?
Well, presumably, I just think this is always the difficulty, isn't it, with some of these kids, because, you know, they if they're going to advance, they're going to need to be playing at a higher level than what they are in terms of the academy, right? Which this is. I mean, I've heard Gary Alexander refer to it as a grown-up football, but, you know, fair enough, but no, I mean, if they're going to want serious game time, then, you know, these things are to be welcomed. I mean, I don't have any problem with players going out on loan, because I think it benefits them. You know, if they want to progress or whatever, they need to do these things, and hopefully they'll do their term on loan. And I don't think as well as they might do when they come back, they're going to walk straight into the team. But possibly, if they go out on loan again, they go to a higher level than they've come from, which I think is beneficial personally. But no, I mean, it's all good stuff, and hopefully they can, you know, develop better when they're finished, or they develop better when they finished than what they was when they started, if that makes sense. And no, fine.
Sounds good. And Jeff, welcome to the show.
Good evening, everybody.
Jeff, I want to ask you, many fans were shocked to find that we signed Serbian striker Mihailo Ivanovic. Well, they were excited at first. It was a record transfer fee, but they were shocked to find he's actually injured. He's got a fractured metatarsal. So I feel sorry for him because I've got the exact same thing. He's 19 and he was called up to the national team for the international break just gone. And he went to the call-up. There was pictures of him on the training pitch. There was many questions about it. The big question is, were you surprised?
I was surprised at the signing. Didn't know anything about that in advance, but I think it was someone that the director of football, Steve Gallen, had been tracking. But I'm always a bit wary when we do a surprising incoming transfer. Why Millwall? But the signs are good. If he's on the brink of the full Serbian team, he must be a player. And I feel that once we'd done the deal for Zian, I think the chairman gave the go-ahead and said, look, let's have a go at this. And the fact that he's arrived and he's not ready to play immediately, that's not unprecedented, but it's a shame. Let's hope that, I believe he went to see the specialist this week. It may have even, this week as we speak. So we should be getting a report on the club's media soon. Can I just say about what you asked Stan about Chin and Tom going out on loan?
Of course, you can.
The last couple of years, we've won things at under 21 level. And I was speaking to Paul Robinson a few weeks ago, and he said, look, we've released quite a few players that were successful at that level, but we don't think will be serious first-team contenders because we want to bring through another group. And when you come out of the under-18s, you've got to play somewhere, and the under-21s is the only place you can start off by playing. So the result of that has been that 3 games, we've won 2 and drawn 1, so we're not doing too badly. But 1 or 2 players have had to shoehorn into positions they wouldn't normally play in just to make sure that everyone that's a pro is getting a game. I went to the game this week at Calmont Road against Peterborough, and the day before, Tom Leahy had gone on loan to Woking, so Henry Hearn played without another striker. We had 2 midfield players in the wide positions. At centre-back, Chin went that day, and I wondered where he was, but it turned out he'd gone out that day. So they're not trying to win anything this year, but there are some more players coming through there. Bear in mind, Colleen Grant's out on loan at Bromley as well at the moment. Someone's at Sutton, aren't they? Who you mentioned that? I think it's
Chin.
Chin is at Sutton. That's right. So I don't think that'll be the last, because there were players on the bench on, when was it? Tuesday, I think, that reserve game. May have been Monday. That they'll want to see playing. So I think that is the strategy. If they can get people out on loan, they will. And the reason, as Stan said, they need to be playing men's football, don't they? The Academy League's great, but it's not the same as playing with a bunch of blokes whose win bonuses at stake, and they don't want you to, there you are. So there you are. That's my views on that. And on Mihailo, I can't wait to see the Serbian boy play.
Yeah, great. We'll take a break there and hear about our sponsors, G&M Motors.
Hi, this is Jess Tuffield from G&M Motors. Operating from a modern and purpose-built facility in Milton Road, Gravesend, G&M Motors offers a complete range of new Honda cars and services. As well as new Hondas, we have an extensive range of used cars, including ex-Motability cars from a variety of manufacturers. Specialising in new Honda cars, G&M Motors has been retailing quality new and used vehicles to the people of Kent and South East London for over 4 decades. We have been a Honda dealership since 1972 and are the country's longest serving supplier of this renowned mark. Conveniently sited just 2 miles from the A2, 10 miles from the M25 and Dartford Crossing, visitors to our showroom are assured a warm welcome from our experienced and friendly staff. Our facilities include an on-site workshop capable of providing full vehicle servicing and repairs, as well as an extensive parts department offering genuine Honda parts and accessories. The expertise of our skilled mechanics is not limited to just Hondas, but extends to most makes and models of motor vehicles. Whatever your motoring needs, visit us at G&M Motors today. The newly extended hours of our G&M headquarters means that you can contact us from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. on Saturdays. To contact us, call us today on 01474 365 026.
Thank you, Jess. Debbie Julian's here. Don't forget to call Jess on 01474 365 026. G&M Motors have been dear friends of the Julians family for over 4 decades now. From my dad Lenny to me, Debbie, Lions together.
I'm your host, Myles, and with me I have the No One Likes This talking team of former Lion, Phil Coleman, Stan Godwin and Jeff Burnige. Many thanks to our sponsors, G&M Motors. Why not check the Hondas out and see what else they have on site at Gravesend. Our first guest is a big friend of the show. He can often be seen in and around the executive lounge at the Den. He's also the managing director of Sports and Events UK Limited. This gentleman was part of the infamous 1988 squad that won promotion in the old First Division. He was also a player of the season. Born in 1967, he played 163 times for Millwall over 6 seasons. Then he went on loan to several teams before landing at Hartlepool, the land of monkey hangers, apparently, where he played 73 times before hanging up his boots in 1997. You all know who we're referring to. Welcome back to the show, Brian Horne.
Good evening.
Evening, Brian. How are you, mate?
Very well. You're all right. Like the introduction.
Before you chat with the team, mate, I wanted to ask, you was visible on social media before the season started with Millwall fan groups who followed the Lions on their pre-season tour. What was that experience like?
It was amazing. I just want to say that I think the Millwall fans were absolutely different class. They behaved impeccably. They had a beer down at a bar close to the ground from a gentleman that come from Elephant, I think. So all the Millwall fans were brilliant, had a good time, and hopefully we can do it again next year.
Sounds good, mate.
Horny, how you doing, mate? Phil here.
You all right, Phil? How are you?
Yeah, apart from broken ribs, but other than that, I'm all right, mate. You good?
What's that, the missus?
Yeah, I wish it was. Yeah, long story. I'll tell you one day.
No, you wait till you hear how we did it.
All right, I'll tell you live on there. I fell out of a sauna, cracked my ribs on the bench as I went down.
Doesn't surprise me, you, Phil, at all.
No balance at all. I'll just tackle anything.
Exactly.
I'll tackle the sauna now. That's on my CV. So, yeah, Brian, how you doing?
I'm very well, really well. Just had a nice couple of weeks in Greece with the family.
Lovely.
And then straight back to work the day after, flew to Portugal, over to Spain, and now back here on the show.
Nice one, mate. Nice one. Well, I've got a couple of different questions for you. Back in '86, I came back to the Den for my second spell, and you was there starting out in your career almost, and my brother Nick obviously was playing there. So I've got a question, mate. Did you struggle to tell me and Nick apart?
No, not really, mate. Your curly locks, I think, done it. Nick's a lot better looking than you, Phil. So he had a straight nose. Yours was bent, and it was quite easy back in the day. But no, I mean, you two epitomise Millwall. You're South London boys. Nick, great left foot. You a lion. Fearless. So I thought you two were great for the club. Fantastic.
Cheers, mate. I'll take that all day. How did he contribute to your goalkeeping, Nick? What was he like?
Well, he couldn't wear gloves or dive about. No. I think, obviously, coming through the youth team, Phil, as you know, you build relationships with the back four. I mean, I was quite lucky that Macca, I played with Macca a couple of times, and Rhino and whoever the other centre-half was at that time in the reserves. It weren't Woody, because Woody was playing for Reading, but having a few games in the reserves at 15 and then being chucked in the first team at 18 and playing for the youth team every week, you got to build relationships. And obviously Nicky was part of that. A lot of the team was part of that,
Yeah.
Darren Morgan, Neil Ruddock, I can go on, Paul Malcolm, Darren Morgan, Dave Thompson. You just build relationships and thankfully them boys come through into the first team. So I think it was just natural that you got to know how each other played.
Yeah, nice one, mate. I totally agree there.
Evening, Horny. It's Jeff here. How you doing?
Yeah, very well, sir. How are you?
Oh, I'm really good, actually. Yeah, really good. But I've got a question I've been asked to put to you, because we've had many a conversation that we don't want to ask the same questions over and over.
Yep.
I've heard of your sporting events company, and I'm impressed, as everybody else is, with what you get up to, including the Atlantic Cup. Can you tell us about that history?
Yeah, well, basically, when I finished football, obviously we didn't earn enough money, as the boys do today, to not work. So you don't know anything else apart from football, Jeff, when you finish. And I had invested in some property in Portugal when I finished, and that was in 2004, and the European Championships were on in Portugal. So I took the time with Mr. Brian King, I might add. We went round and we had a look at some venues that the teams were using for their preparation before the games. These were in the Algarve. And then one of Brian King's friends, Mr. Dag Solheim, who used to be like a Gary Lineker, used to do the TV in Norway. He was on the board of a team called Fredrikstad. in Norway who had just qualified for Europe. They'd finished second in the Norwegian league. So they asked me to do a training camp. And this is a true story, which I'm going to tell. So I said I'd do it. I didn't have really any clue that what I was doing, but obviously we knew that we had to get them training every day. We had to get them fed breakfast, lunch and dinner, and we had to get them a couple of games. So before they flew out, we had done all this. And then when we landed, I found out that the sports director had just been told that he had cancer. And when you feel that, and you felt that there was something wrong in the squad as well. So there was a couple of training sessions. The sports director was drinking and getting drunk because he'd just found out he had cancer. The players, after 2 training sessions, were fighting on the pitch. So I said to myself, well, is this as bad as it can get? I reckon I can make a career out of this. So basically, that's how we started, and we got into the market in Scandinavia after the fiasco of the training camp, and we decided to bring them down to Portugal because we had obviously done our own work and found out where all the training grounds were and what we had to do. So then after a few years, we found out that there wasn't particularly too many good Portuguese sides down in the Algarve. You've got Portimonense and you've got Farense. They're the 2 big clubs down there at the moment. I think one's in the Premier League and one's in the league below at the moment. And you couldn't ask them to play games all the time against the teams that we were bringing down. So hence the Atlantic Cup. That's how it started. So then the first year we brought 4 clubs down. I think, if by memory, 15 years ago, it was Elfsborg, Odense, Helsingborg and Brøndby. So they were the 4 clubs that started it for us. And then it's just taken off from there. And I think over the 15 years, we've had more than 60 clubs playing it. So it's been fantastic. It's live on TV back in Scandinavia and the countries that watch it. And so I'm very, very proud of what I've done there. And we've moved into different areas. We've moved into Dubai and we've moved into Spain as well. So it's been a hard graft, 15 years, but I really enjoy it. Once you get into it and you meet loads of different sports directors and see lots of players, hopefully I can do what Brian King does and try and recommend a few to Millwall once I see a few.
So the teams that go down from Scandinavia, is during their mid-season break? Is it in, say, a January?
Yeah, I think that it starts with the Dutch, the Belgium, and the German clubs. They're sort of their winter break sort of starts the 1st of January and goes through to about the 12th. However, it's changed this year because of the European Champions League and the Europa League. There's an extra round in it, as people know. So their winter breaks have been cut short to 6 days, which is ludicrous, really, the amount of games that they're going to play. Yeah. They're not going to get enough rest, the players, and things are then become stale, or the players are going to start getting injured. There's far too much football now, far too much. And with the with the internationals we've got now as well, the top players don't get a break.
But in addition to the Atlantic Cup, you also get involved in bringing clubs out for their pre-season training in our summer, don't you?
Yeah, I mean we take. I mean, I've just taken. Who did we take out? We took Michelin, Brøndby, and Cardiff out to Austria. We took Brentford B. We took Port Vale down to the Vale of Glamorgan in Wales, and then we had Bristol City. We had Bristol City, who was the first one, Aberdeen. We had Bromley. We had Bristol Rovers, all in Portugal. So there's about 6 or 7 teams we took down to Portugal. Sorry if I've missed any. But, so we are quite busy. I'm very lucky. I've got an office in Portugal as well. It's run by a great fella called Martin Gregorio. He's brilliant at his job and keeps everything ticking along in Portugal. And of course, our office is in my hometown. So, we work hard, and at the moment, it's everybody's fighting to get the winter traffic. So it's a very stressful period, I suppose, at the moment, up until the beginning of November, when most of the clubs have arranged their training camps and where to go.
Sounds great.
Yeah, really enjoy it. As I say, January and February July is the busy period for me, but apart from that, I'll go up and work at the Den. My dad is 81 now. He can't walk, so he he relies on me to take him to the ground to watch the games, and which obviously I can't. I want to do it anyway, but he's such an ardent Millwall fan. He doesn't want to miss anything, and so that's great for me.
Brian, Stan here, mate. How are you?
Not bad, Stan. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Brian, you have retained a passion for Millwall for many years now, and over that time, following your hanging up of your boots, as the saying goes, what was the most exciting time for you following Millwall?
God, that's a good question. I think the early memories when my dad used to take me up to Coldblow Lane, and I used to. I'm not just saying it. I know we're good friends, but used to watch the goalkeepers from Coldblow Lane at the old terraces at the old Den, and watch the likes of Brian King and all the goalkeepers that that had come through. That I was watching. I was obviously thriving to be a young goalkeeper myself. So my dad used to put us on the. I don't know if you remember, but at the old Den there was a little step in the wall, or if you was lucky, you got to stand on a wooden step. But that's where I used to be watching my football. But what was the best time watching? Obviously, and I think a great time was watching Millwall in the FA Cup final. I think that was great for the club. I didn't get to go to Hungary to watch us, but I love every game we play. The supporters, whether they're quiet or loud, make the Den a brilliant place to watch football. I don't care what anybody says. When it's exciting at Millwall, I don't think there's a better ground in the country to watch football. It's fantastic. So, just being my dad making me a Millwall supporter and watching the good times and the bad times, the 2000 in the rain or the 1800 at home Tuesday night against Exeter at the old ground, and to the FA Cup final. It's been great watching it all.
Yeah, no, I understand all that, and I get all that exactly. But right, okay then.
Hey, Brian, I've got a few questions I've created here tonight to try and be a little bit different, because I know you're on here quite a bit. So I do some tales from the locker room on this show, and in one of them a few months ago, I covered pre-match Mills, and I go back to Tony Towner. He had
little winger. We signed him from up north. What was the team? Was it Bishop?
I think it was Rotherham.
Yeah. But
was it Rotherham?
On my first away trip, we're having a pre-match meal, and he's looked at the menu, and Tony Towner's had whitebait. Well, at home games, I was having pie and mash. So pie and mash didn't mean no harm at all, but it's given the diet and the nutrition these days. The worst one I ever had, we played in the Reserve League Cup final, and the club ordered us steak and peaches. So when we turned up at the hotel 3 hours before the game, there was a steak and the peaches were on the top of it. So, question to you, mate, what was your best pre-match and what was your worst pre-match?
I always used to have, and I know this is going to sound boring, boiled chicken and beans. That was my pre-match meal every game, which was quite boring.
Where'd that come from? How'd you get that combination?
I think it was just watching, being a young lad and watching some of the other players. I think some of the other players would have boiled chicken and different bits and pieces. Yeah. I don't eat egg or anything like that, so it was just the fact I suppose beans went with it.
Yeah.
So that was just a combination. But what you say, Phil, like now, obviously doing my training camps, the nutrition that goes into sport now, not just football, is so different to when we played. There's not an ounce of fat in the stuff that the players have day to day, apart from, unbelievably, after a game. So after a game, I've seen players eat pizzas, burgers, and this is what the nutritionists and dietitians are telling them what to eat, because when they finish playing, they need to get some rubbish back in their bodies as quickly as possible. So it's a shame, because I would have enjoyed eating all that after I played. But but yeah, so the pizzas, the burgers, all that type of thing, the players eat in abundance now. But beforehand, like the low, fat-free yogurts, they've got fresh fruit that they cut up and put in the yogurts. All these type of things is completely different. But I think I was so boring, Phil, that I think that's what I had every game.
Because I used to look at all the other
I
players.
didn't really go into stakes because obviously I weren't the slimmest of people. So I felt that if I had something heavy, that I couldn't track myself around. So
I did the same as you, Brian. It's like you're looking at the senior pros, and I remember Chris Guthrie. We signed Chris Guthrie for a lot of money, and he comes in and he says, I can't eat unless I have Dover sole before the game. And I'm thinking, Dover sole? A load of them sitting over there eating whitebait, they're eating steak. I've had pie and mash. And nowadays, as you say, the nutrition, bonkers world we used to play in. Bonkers world. Anyway.
Well, they won't, that's another thing, Phil. They won't let you eat fish in hot weather. So, like in July now, with the people being on their training camps, you'll find that there's not a lot of fish or prawns or your whitebaits, if you like, and because it can turn very quickly with the heat. Yeah. So the nutritionists don't let the players eat fish too much in the heat.
Yeah. Another quick question, mate. So we went to Dave Memmitt's funeral, and the great and good of the club were there, and it was a fantastic turnout. And we were just having a chat, me and my brother, Nick, and we bumped into Alan Walker. And as we were walking out, Nick turned around and said, he was bloody tough. He was absolutely fearless. He's one of the toughest I've ever come across. And I thought, okay, yeah, you're probably right. So my question to you, Bri, is who's the toughest, the dog of war that you fought in your time at the Den? I know my brother liked to tackle Rhino, Terry Erlock, and then Nick chucked in Alan Walker. So who do you reckon was right up there as a tough old dog?
Oh, Alan Walker was a tough old dog, mate. I played in a five-a-side one day, and I weren't bad on field, by the way, Phil. I could play a little bit, and I nutmegged him and scored a goal. And the next 2 seconds went past. He rattled my knees where I couldn't walk, and he said, "Stay in goal and don't show me up." I never played out on field again once he was playing, but Walt could head a ball a mile. He was a tough dog, and he knew his strengths. He knew edit and kick it. He knew he couldn't play, but he was hard. Centre forward, Billy Whitehurst. Do you remember Big Billy?
Yeah, I got some bruises from Billy over the years.
Yeah, Billy Whitehurst was a tough dog to play against. But apart from that, I mean, my debut at Sheffield United. Who was the centre forward up there? Played for England, Peter Wibb.
Yeah.
So I can remember my first corner, 18 years old. He's given me the biggest elbow in my face and then picked me up and he said, "That'll be the best lesson you've ever learned." So basically it was, and he was a tough dog as well. So yeah, there's a few. I think you can go through. I think Terry was never too tough in training with his teammates, but again, I think Terry was a better footballer than people give him credit for. I think obviously he could look after himself, but I thought Terry was a great footballer for Millwall.
Yeah, brilliant. Last one with me, quick, mate. How the hell did you join Hartlepool? Because in my experience through the 80s, most players wanted to have the Hartlepool hamstring tear on a Friday to avoid travelling up there. And I can remember going up there. As soon as the referee blew the final whistle, everyone sprinted into the changing rooms because there was a 2-seater bath. And if you was the last one in, you just got a hippo. You were in a hippo swamp. You were literally in mud. This bath had no showers. So how the hell did you end up at Hartlepool?
Well, I'll tell you the story. Obviously, I broke my pelvis at Millwall, stress fracture of the sensitive pubis. So once I'd done that, obviously, I couldn't get my fitness back. And obviously, my time was numbered, really. Although I tried my hardest to get back fit, I couldn't. And obviously, falling out with Bruce Rioch, which is well documented, different bits and pieces. So I went on loan to clubs, and then it was just the fact that I was putting on a few pounds, and it was just the fact the last club, and Hartlepool, come in for me, and I wasn't married at the time. I wasn't with anybody, so I come up and had a look at the ground, Phil. It had one side that was knocked down,
and
then three sides, and I think, when I saw it, I went, "What am I doing up here?" Just thought, "What am I doing up here?" So I sat down for a little while, and I said, "Am I going to play every week?" And they said, "Yeah." I said, "Right, you got my signature." And true to their word, I played every week. There wasn't an ice machine in the house, so you had to go and stand in the seat and crew if you had any injuries. If the pipes were frozen, training was called off because you couldn't have a shower or anything else like that. So it was a brilliant. Even though that was the case, let me tell you, it's a brilliant club.
Yeah,
fans up at Hartlepool are absolutely brilliant. Really loved me 2 years there. And obviously, Phil, you knew I liked to drink during my time.
Yeah.
So there was one nightclub in Hartlepool called 42nd Street, and it was next door to a police station. So what I used to do is go into the police station and arrange that after the nightclub, could I have a breath test? If I was over, which was the majority of the time, they would drive me home. And if I was, under, then I could drive myself home and they would radio through. So it was a fantastic last couple of years. I had everything straightened out up there, which was really good. I knew I was finished, Phil. I knew that after that club, I could only go sort of one way, and that was non-league, and it gave me time to start my business, and that's how it went. But even though you say people couldn't wait to get out of there, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I've got to say that the Hartlepool supporters were different class.
Brilliant, nice one, mate. Thanks, Brian. Over to you, Jeff.
Yeah, interesting that. I've been to Hartlepool to watch Millwall. It's just such a long blooming way away, isn't it, to come home? It's miles. But they're in the National League at the moment. So we mentioned earlier about Coley being at Sutton and Tom Leahy at Woking. But they've both got the pleasure of travelling to Hartlepool for a National League game. Let's see what they make of that. But my last question, Horny, for you is about, we've talked about on this programme and privately about the times in that promotion season. Penalty save at Bournemouth, that's something that no one that was there will ever forget. I think it dawned on all of us that day that we were probably going to get in the First Division after 102 years of trying. So, but what I'd like to ask you on this occasion is, in our years in the First Division, who would you say was the most impressive player that you faced? Who was the most difficult to play against? But who really sticks in your mind as someone, wow, I played against him?
Mark Hughes. I think, without any shadow of a doubt, I think he was a magnificent centre forward. He was on a different level, I think. He, his shots were always on target. I can't remember a shot being off target. He was strong, so strong, and he scored a few goals against me. But I think Mark Hughes. Listen, Gazza played for Tottenham at the time with Chris Waddle. You got to say them two were absolutely outstanding. Gazza's probably the best footballer this country's ever produced. On his day he was unstoppable, and it was brilliant. But it was a privilege to apply your trade to see how good you were against them. And I think that's why Millwall done so well. I think all the players were Millwall supporters near enough, apart from a few in our team. And we had that Millwall spirit that we never wanted to get beat going up to the First Division. And then obviously our first year in it, Jeff. I think that it was just, I say all the time, a magical time, but it tested us to see how good of players we are. The best ones, Teddy Sheringham, went on and done a lot. He's won the Champions League. He's won everything you can win in football, apart from anything with England. So, you've got to say that, with that in mind, Cash, has gone on to play for Marseille and has got a brilliant career in the radio. I'm glad he's not on telly because his face is terrible, isn't it? But we went there. Jimmy Carter's now working for the EFL and doing some commentary on the radio. He moved to Arsenal and Liverpool, as we know. So, we had some great players and some unknowns at the time, but they were all hungry and wanted to go on and do something. And I just think Teddy Sheringham epitomises that with obviously what he'd done, where he come from. He never forgets Millwall. I don't care what the Millwall supporters think of Ted. But, obviously going to West Ham, but, you get 40 grand a week, you're going to go anywhere. So, he was brilliant at Millwall. He learned his trade at the club, and he went on to do some magnificent things. And I think that's the things you've got to take from that side, that not only did we do really well with the team that we had, but we had a player that went on to win everything in football, and he started his career at Millwall. And he was managed by some great managers, don't get me wrong, but and he played with some great players, but he learned his trade at Millwall, and I don't think Ted will ever forget that. But I think that's what comes out of the promotion squad.
I recently reread his autobiography, and what you just said comes through there. He was a magnificent player. You mentioned Jimmy Carter. He once told me he was signed by John Docherty, Kenny Dalglish, and George Graham. So he said, I can't have been that bad a player, can I? So there was that one. But you mentioned Paul Gascoigne earlier. Were you playing in the game that Gazza came and played in a Millwall shirt?
Yeah, I remember it very clearly, Jeff, that obviously all the Millwall players were giving him stick and chucking him Mars bars and different bits and pieces. And I can remember him controlling a Mars bar on his chest and volleying it back into the crowd. And I've never seen a Millwall crowd change so quickly. And then he put the Millwall shirt on, obviously, and he had the crowd eating out of his hands. That was another good night, Jeff, to see a superstar, put on a Millwall shirt, and that'll be fondly remembered as well.
Well, the occasion was the testimonial to commemorate Dean Horrocks.
Yeah, I know.
Recently, yeah. I think I'm right in saying, and at the time there was an England camp, and Gazza came and played, I think, 15 minutes in a Millwall shirt in that game. That's the kind of bloke he could be. He had a big heart, didn't he?
Oh, I mean, I was lucky enough to train with him in the England setup, and I mean, he was a lunatic. I mean, let's have it right. He was a brilliant footballer, but he was difficult off the pitch as well. And but he was the soul and the life of the party. He made people laugh, and it was great to be around him. I remember. I don't know if you remember the game in Sweden where Terry Butcher had the bandage round his head. I was in the under-21 squad, and we got back to the airport. And in them days, you got Bobby Robson was getting interviewed, and Paul Gascoigne just come over and cut his tie off with a pair of scissors while he was getting interviewed on the radio, And Bobby Robson just looked at him and shook his head and carried on as though nothing had happened. But that's what Paul Gascoigne was. He was just the life and soul of the party. But he could turn it on the pitch. As I say, he's probably the best English footballer ever.
Another great story. Thanks, Horny.
Yeah, Brian. You mentioned not often to get into it, but you mentioned about when we was in the first division. Now, I don't know whether you know this, right? Because I asked Tony Cascarino the question, and he didn't know it, and he was. Did you know that at the end of our first season in the first division, we actually finished above Man United?
Yeah, of course. Man United finished 12th, didn't they? We finished 10th.
Yeah, we was. Yeah, okay, no, that's fine, because when I mentioned that to Tony Cascarino when he was on here, he thought I was winding him up. I said, "No, I'm telling you, we finished a point above them and all that," and he was genuinely shocked. Right? Okay, well that's that then. But the other thing I was going to ask you, in the 24-25, you saw the squad in pre-season. There have been some acquisitions since then. What do you think the Millwall team or squad can achieve this season under Neil Harris's direction?
I think Neil's going to stick with a team that he's picking at the moment. I think that he's going to be loyal to them players. I think he come in last year, and although we all wanted Edwards to do well, it didn't quite happen. But I think Neil come in, and you could see from the first game at Southampton that something had changed. The players wanted to play for Neil, and I mean, at the end of the day, we had a couple of dodgy results at Rotherham and Sheffield Wednesday that then we all thought that it was doom and gloom again. And I think we won the last 5, if I'm not wrong. And that took us out. So, Neil's got a lot of faith in them players that are playing. I mean, I look at the back line and, I think we're still quite strong. Tanganga coming in there has strengthened that. Joe Bryan and Leonard, I think are great players. I think, Joe's got a little bit of quality about him. And, again, we need covering midfield for me. I think, this is only my opinion, and we need a tried and tested centre forward. But money, you got to understand the rules as well, financial fair play. We can only spend and what we bring in, and if we've only got that type of money, we've only got that type of money. The players that he's brought in may be for the future. I think if we put too many young players in the side, again, only my opinion, I think then we may be in a little bit of trouble because there's not a lot of experience from the youngsters playing in the Championship. But, I'm a great believer because I've come through the youth system that, if you're good enough, you're ready. And I trust Neil. I trust Neil that once them players are ready and he thinks they're ready, and the players that we've signed, if they're good enough and ready, he'll put them in the team. Yeah. But, for now, I think we've got 4 points after a few games. We need to get some points on the board before we start experimenting.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I thought that, it was... When we played Watford on the opening day of the season, we got back into the game, and then it was the sucker punch. Now, later on that night, there was a guy put a picture on Twitter of the bloke headed the ball in, and the bloke was in an offside position, right? And this bloke was saying, he's offside, whatever. And I said to him, well, yeah, I said, that's true. I said, the Championship ruled out VAR. I said, if we'd have had VAR, I said, that goal would have been disallowed. I said, but we don't want VAR. I said, therefore, you're going to have to put up with the machinations of match officials, unfortunately, from time to time. But, so that was that. But, I agree with you, what you say about his position with the team and one thing and another. And, it was good, especially But then you see, with the Watford game, we was unlucky, weren't we? All right, I thought we was unlucky against when we played Bristol City, and I'm saying that only because I saw the highlights, and so we was due for a bit of luck. What did you make of the young kid we brought in on loan from Middlesbrough?
Do you know what? I've got to be honest. I've been on holiday in Greece, so I haven't watched him. I can't comment.
Right.
So I can't comment on him at the moment. But obviously, Saturday we'll see what the team is. We'll see what Neil picks, and we'll have a look at the players that are coming through. But as I say to you, look, we've got a basis of a decent side. I think everybody knows that we've been screaming out for a forward, a decent forward that's going to help Bradders or the people that are coming. We need someone that's going to score us 20 goals a season, but the whole world is looking for that, and we haven't got the money to compete with maybe a Premiership striker that is languishing in the reserves. So we've got to be a little bit clever at how we go about things, and as I say, hopefully that over the course of the season things will start to happen for us, and Neil can maybe give some of the older people a rest because people are ready to come through. But it's got to be managed in the right way. It's although we've made some very good signings with the young kids, we can't just chuck them all in all at once.
No, that's right. Yeah, right. Okay, then, Phil.
Brian, thank you.
Brian, sorry. Brian, thank you.
You're right, Roger. Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for joining us, mate, and sharing your thoughts about Millwall and broader football matters. First of all, before you head off, we've got a new prediction league where guests, hosts, and panelists predict the games for 3 games in the Championship. So I'm going to get your predictions for them now, if that's okay.
Go on then.
So first one is, of course, Millwall versus Luton. What do you reckon for that one?
I think we're going to win 2-1.
Sounds good. And how about Leeds versus Burnley?
Leeds, Burnley. I think Burnley will win that.
What scoreline, mate?
Let's stick with 2-1 or 1-2.
And how about Oxford versus Stoke?
God, you must be bored thinking about these. Oxford v Stoke. Started all right, Stoke, didn't they? I'm going to go Oxford. I'm going to go with draw here, 1-1.
Cool. Brilliant. Well, Brian, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, cheers, Brian.
Cheers, Orny. Catch up soon, mate.
Brian.
Cheers, mate. Take it easy.
Cheers, Orny.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
We'll take a break there and hear from myself and Stan talking about Bermondsey Town Football Club. Bermondsey Town, you heard of them?
I have, but what about them?
They're a football club based in Rotherhithe. They're currently members of the Kent Football League Premier Division and play at the St Paul Sports Ground, Salter Road. They ground share with Fisher on match days. It's where the Millwall Lionesses, Romans and Pride play on Sundays.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, if Millwall are away, I'll get along.
Check out the fixtures and details on the Bermondsey Town website.
I will give it a go.
Stan, we're yet to see you, mate.
Well, that's normally because I'm busy, mate. That's normally because I've normally got jobs from indoors, mate. So, yeah, so it's just ain't worth the earache, I tell you.
Well, Millwall fans, if you're not able to make the Luton game this weekend, why not watch Bermondsey Town take on Bexley FC on Saturday, 2:45 kickoff at St Paul Sports Ground. Now then, let's hear from Ellis Barr. Keep us updated, Ellis.
Hello, Ellis here, and I'm glad to be back talking about Millwall. I know many have watched my videos, so you will all know that I don't wear splints as much anymore. Thanks for your support along the way. It is now time to hear what all the Millwall teams are up to. Come on, Millwall!
Come on, Millwall, indeed. Well, first up, let's hear from Paul Loding, who's going to give us an update on the Romans and Pride teams.
Hi, it's Paul Loding at the Millwall Romans with a quick update. Nothing really going on at the moment. We're still training, both teams on a break this Sunday, and we both are in action the following Sunday, both playing away. In terms of predictions this week, though, Millwall, I'm going to say, are going to win 2-0. I think Leeds-Burnley. I think Leeds are going to nick that 1-0. And I would say Oxford-Stoke. I say Oxford-Stoke's going to be 0-0.
Thank you very much, Paul. And Jeff Burnige now updates us now on the Millwall Lionesses.
Millwall Lionesses were defeated 4-0 by Dartford Women at Princes Park on Sunday. Manager Alex Russell had tendered his resignation during the week, but he only announced it to the team and social media after the game. His co-manager, Adam Rowland, had himself resigned 2 weeks ago. Dartford, for this game, had 3 players who had come through the Millwall Academy, including Ellie Dolby, daughter of Lions legend Tony, and she set up the first goal in the game with a cross from the right. They are indisputably a stronger setup than Millwall at the moment, but the Lionesses competed really well. There is special praise for young keeper Evie Thorne-Ford, one of 3 under-18 players in the Millwall team, the others being Billy Burgess and Clemmy Young. On Monday, there was an important announcement from the club in the form of new general manager Jason Vincent from the Millwall Community Trust. He has been conducting a review of all women's and girls football under the Millwall banner. It was also announced that the new man at the helm of the first team would be Ted Jones, who steps up after 3 successful seasons as manager of the under-18 side. This appointment looks certain to enable the Lionesses to continue the strategy of developing their own players for the first team, which has worked particularly well for the last 2 seasons. Jason Vincent said, "Working in this joined-up and collaborative manner between coaches and management will help the development across all women's and girls' teams." Millwall Managing Director Mark Fairbrother paid great tribute to the outgoing management and said, "It is disappointing to lose Alex and Adam, and we thank them for their hard work and dedication over their time with the Lionesses. Their great performance of the team in last season's FA Cup run being a real highlight." End quote. Alex Russell and Adam Rowland are big-time Millwall fans, and Alex in particular has played a big part in the revival of the Lionesses ever since they suffered an administrative relegation from the FA Women's Championship 5 years ago. Adam Rowland has been with the club for 3 years and has contributed greatly. Ted Jones says, "I am really grateful for this opportunity to lead the team and I can't wait to get started. We've got a lot of work to do with the squad and get across some ideas to them and prepare for the Ebbsfleet FA Cup tie on the 22nd of September.
Very insightful from you there, Jeff. Great update. Thank you very much for that. We're going to do our own predictions now. So we'll start with you, Phil. Can I get your predictions for Millwall versus Luton, please?
Yeah, Millwall-Luton. A tough game, but I've looked at the table and Luton have struggled a little bit, 1 point from 4 games. So I'm going for a 2-0 home win. The Leeds-Burnley game, both teams very good, both attacking. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw there, plenty of goals. And Oxford, not sure about them at the standard of the league so far. So for me, Stoke 2-0 away win.
And Jeff, how about you? Millwall versus Luton, please.
Millwall to win and keep a third consecutive clean sheet. I think it'll be 1-0.
And how about Leeds versus Burnley, mate?
I'm never going to back anyone to win at Ellen Road. That's a tough place to go and win. Burnley got a chance, I agree with Phil, but I'm going to go for a Leeds home win 2-1.
Yep. And Oxford versus Stoke?
That's a tricky one, isn't it? I don't suppose many of us can say we know an awful lot about Oxford, having just come up under a manager who most people can't even name, who's been with the club for a long time, coming through various academy jobs. But I don't think they're the greatest at home. It's a funny stadium, isn't it? It's not even all 4 sides. I'm going to go for a Stoke win there, and I'm going to make that one Oxford 1, Stoke 2.
Funny fact that you said they're not the greatest at home. They've won 3 games this season, mate. All of them at home.
Well, that's a record they're going to find it hard to keep up. You're quite right to point that out. I didn't know that, but it's a stadium where I think visiting teams have a chance, and I'm going to stick with my prediction. I think Stoke will win there 2-1.
Thank you very much for that, Jeff. And Stan, how about you? Millwall versus Luton, please.
I think what'll happen, we're going to see a repeat score of the same one we got against Sheffield Wednesday. I think we'll win it 3-0.
Very good. Leeds versus Burnley?
I think Leeds will win that by about 3-1, I reckon.
And Stoke versus Oxford, please, mate.
Well, Oxford are they're a bit of an unknown quantity, aren't they? Stoke, with Stoke, they seem to sort of blow hot and cold. I'll settle for a 0-0 draw there, I think.
Fantastic. I am going to go for Millwall versus Luton. I'm going to go 2-1 Millwall. For Leeds versus Burnley, I'm going to say 1-1. And for Oxford versus Stoke, I'm going to say 2-1 Oxford. So, we will take a break there and listen to Bethany Mangtalo talking about how you can support the Millwall Community Trust.
The Millwall Community Trust, something that I, Bethany Mangtalo, admire for all that it does. The Trust was established in 1985, works to provide sporting, education, social and healthy lifestyle opportunities to the local community in Southwark, Lewisham, North Kent and the wider community. Its work is targeted at people of all ages, irrespective of race, gender or sexual orientation, and runs programmes aimed at tackling social exclusion, racism, knife crime, lack of employment opportunities for young people, mental health and disability issues. The Trust aims to be a progressive and campaigning charity that makes a difference to ordinary people's lives. Its work is undeniably essential to the local community. They have sponsorship opportunities to support this work. Email commercial@millwallcommunity.org.uk. I'll say that again. That is email commercial@millwallcommunity.org.uk. Please help if you can.
Our second guest is a 19-year-old who was brought to attention following Millwall's 0-0 draw over his side, Hull City. He approached Millwall's goalkeeper coach Andy Marshall following the game with an incredible painting of the late Matisse Sarkic. A true class act. Welcome to the show, Leo Jameson.
Hello, everyone.
Evening, Leo.
Hello, Leo. All right?
Hello, Leo.
Good.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Leo, first of all, before I hand you over to the panel, I'm sure I speak for all Millwall fans when I say thank you very much for the painting of Matty. You're an incredible artist.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Like, I didn't realise how much I'd like the connection, like, to go this far, to be fair. I just wanted to do something, like, to support the club. So.
Hi Leo, Phil here. I'm a former player and a fan of Millwall. And as Myles said, it was an incredible what you did for the club. And total respect to you, young man. And it's brilliant because from another fan, from another club to do that is it builds bridges. And I've got no doubt at all there'll be thousands of Millwall fans who give you total respect. My question is, what made you do it? What made you take on that project?
Well, like throughout the like couple of last seasons, I do like lots of paintings for like footballers, and I was thinking, how could I like show my respect? I was like, and then I just came with it in my head like, let's just do this and donate it to them and see how it goes. And then when the team arrived, I just handed over, and then I didn't realise how much like the shock of everyone's faces, or like, it's just you, and then I was just happy how far it went, to be fair.
Absolutely brilliant, young man.
Thank you.
Yeah, Leo, Stan here, mate. Have you done any other players? And I'm led to believe there's another Millwall player that you've done or thinking of doing.
I've done, I don't know, over like, I think it's like 200 players, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I did, on the same day, I gave Wes Harding a drawing of him. I did that on the same day. I've done Tanganga as well. But yeah, I've done hundreds of players.
Ah. So how long have you been? When did you develop the I don't say the skill. I mean, obviously it's skillful, but when did you develop the sort of what made you think or want to suddenly start doing it? Like, you know.
Well, I've got I had one of the players that I painted. I had a connection with like a friend of a friend. He said, paint this player and I'll like it. And then I was like, I could do this for like every team and that we whole play or any game I go to. And I've done it for like the last 3 years now. But I'll be honest here, I don't want to sound too bad, but I could never paint like people, and literally it's like the last 3 years it's just somehow worked, and I'm just like getting better and better. So hopefully I can go on to do better things.
Yeah. Well, all credit to you, mate. All credits here.
Thank you.
Leo, I echo what Phil said about you when he asked his question. Yes, Millwall fans will respect what you've done. It's really marvellous. And Matty was very much loved at the club, despite only being with us a year, and was particularly close to the goalkeeping coach, Andy Marshall. What I'm wondering is, have you always wanted to be an artist? How old were you when you realised that's what you wanted to do?
I've always been into art. Like throughout my childhood, I was always like very creative and just like wanting to do like art, some sort of to do with art. I've recently just finished some of my art courses. I've just studied fine art for the last 3 years. So now I'm just hopefully trying to find like a pathway for like a job or something in art. But one day hopefully I'll get it someday.
Well, the picture of Matty is brilliant. So I haven't seen any others, but I shall look out for them. And look, I think you've got a future. It's a niche that you found. I don't think many other people are painting footballers in such numbers. So I wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you.
Leo, I recommend you put together a big art gallery and just put all those players, because you'll be sold out. Seriously.
I want to try and do like a big thing one day where I can get like all the paintings that I've done ever in one room and just see, like, just bring it in and just see how many I've actually done.
I'm not going to say. I'm sorry, Leo. I'm not going to say it will happen, but if you came down and displayed Tanganga and Wes Harding and Matty's photo picture in the den on a match day, you'd be well loved. They would love it. Seriously, it's something I'd love to see.
Well, I'm hoping this season, because I don't really go to many away games. But I try my best when I can. I'm hoping to come to Millwall, but it's quite a long journey. So
I'll guarantee.
Just don't do one of Phil Coleman. Just don't do one of Phil Coleman. That's my recommendation.
Okay.
My hair would take up most of the picture.
Leo,
you get a very warm welcome, Leo. I guarantee that, son. Really would.
Thank you.
Leo, thank you very much for joining. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Before you go, we've got a prediction league that we do every week, where we ask people to come when they come on, guests, fans that come on, host, me, the panelist, for a prediction for the upcoming game. So the 3 games are. Can I get your predictions for the 3 games, which are Millwall versus Luton?
Okay.
Please, mate.
Millwall, Luton. I don't even know what the table is. It's early season, so I'm going to go for just a 1-1. A little boring 1-1. Hopefully not a boring game, though.
And how about Leeds versus Burnley?
Oh, Leeds versus Burnley. See, I'm from Leeds, but I kind of have to hate Leeds somehow, so I'm going to go for 2-0 Burnley, but I don't think it really will be.
And Oxford versus Stoke?
Oxford versus Stoke. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Stoke. I think they might edge it.
Okay. Leo, thank you very much, mate, for joining us.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Good night, Leo.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leo. A very good guy. We'll take a break there and listen to Bethany explain how you can, how you can join us. Come and join us is the intro to this.
Hi, it's Bethany Magdalo. Why not come and join me as another Millwall supporting woman and become part of the Millwall No One Likes Us Talking team? You can be a panellist or a host. You could even do match reporting on the radio for the first team, Millwall Lionesses, or community matters. The team will help you to broadcast effectively. Come and join us by emailing me at nolutalkin@gmail.com. I'll say that again. Email me on nolutalkin@gmail.com.
I'm your host, Myles Thornton, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of former Lion, Phil Coleman, Stan Godwin, and Jeff Burnige. We're all looking forward to the next game, but in the meantime, here are a few matters of interest for Millwall fans and those interested in football.
Millwall Community Trust is hiring a Premier League Kicks project officer. The role holder will be responsible for the oversight, coordination and delivery of Millwall Community Trust's Premier League Kicks project and its linked match-funded elements, which are primarily delivered in Southwark and Lewisham. A full job description, head to the Millwall Community Trust website.
Millwall Lionesses under-18s manager Ted Jones has been appointed the manager of the first team following the resignation of co-managers Alex Russell and Adam Rowland. Jason Vincent has been appointed general manager of the Lionesses as the Community Trust say a new board has been put in place.
Tickets are on sale for all season ticket holders for our trip to QPR on September the 21st. Head to millwallfc.co.uk/tickets to find out more.
Don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us Talking team bring reports from our games, both home and away, for Lions, Lionesses, Romans and Pride, and also matters on Millwall, also updates on Millwall Community Matters, broadcasting to you on Maritime Radio on 96.5 FM. Additionally, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr and all popular podcast sites. That's it from me. Thank you, Stan.
Yeah, cheers, Myles.
And thanks, Phil.
Yeah, thanks very much for having us on. It's a great show again.
And thank you very much, Jeff.
Thanks, Myles. Good night, everybody.
Finally, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there. Thank you all for listening.
Our Millwall Fan Show is sponsored by G&M Motors of Gravesend, Honda dealers and much more. Thank you.